Hello and welcome to How to Win at Gwent. I'm not just going to teach you how to play, oh no, we're going to learn how to win and be stylish about it. Gwent is the strategy deck building game in The Witcher 3, which isn't exactly instrumental to the plot in any way, but still manages to take up a significant portion of my time each time I delve into the world of the Wild Hunt. So here's what the board looks like. From left to right, you have your character, Geralt, and my opponent. You have your leader card here and here, this is mine and that's his. You have your faction, mine's Northern Realms and his is Nilfgaardian Empire. You have how many cards you have left in your deck. I have 10 and he has 11. This is how many lives you have left. I have 2, I haven't lost a round yet. This is where the weather cards go when we get to that. This is how many points you currently have. I have 9. This is how many points you have in each rank. 9 there, 0 everywhere else. This is his board and this is mine, split into 3 ranks: Siege, Ranged, and Close Combat. And here is where you put certain special cards. This is my current hand. This is where the cards go. That's the discard pile for each of us, and this is how many cards I have left in my deck. So let's start off explaining why he's gone first, but I have a card on my board. What those are is spy cards, as indicated by the little eye on the bottom. And those mean that he can put a card down on my board, but that means he gets to pick up 2 more cards from his deck in the top right-hand corner. It gives him a bit of an advantage for the later rounds, and it's also what I like to do in the first round. So I'm going to put down one of my spy cards, which has 4 points. Now he's given me 9 points by putting down his. I'm only going to give him 4 points, so I still maintain the lead, and I get 2 more cards, which is a pretty good payoff. So it puts 2 more cards into your hand, so I now have a hand of 11. He's used another spy card. He's got the same tactic as me, which is unsurprising. So I'm going to put down another one, which only has 5 points. Now, he's given me 16 points in total, and I've only given him 9. So I've still maintained a lead, and I've got loads of cards. He also has loads of cards, but it's not so important. Now, he's just used a Scorch card. What the Scorch card does is it burns every card with the same value, and that includes the cards on his board. It's a bit of a pain in the bum, because now he has the lead, and what I can choose to do at this point is either try and win this round with my massive deck of cards, or I can give up and not waste any more cards. But I think what I'm going to do is test the waters with a low point card. Now this one has 4 points. This handshake here means that if I put down 2 or 3 or any more of the same card, it doubles the value. Now this is one of my favorite tactics because I have 3 of this guy. And if I get a hand that has 3 of that guy in, they're worth 12 points each. And if I then double that, they're worth loads and then I win. However, in this particular hand, I only have 1 of him, so he's a little bit worthless. Now, I just want to point out that I also have this card down the bottom, if you can see that, with at the bottom of her card, there's a heart with a big cross in it. Now what she does is she can pick up any discarded card, which isn't very useful in the first round, but it will be in second and third. So if I use this guy now, and then my faction ability triggers, my faction ability being whenever I win a round, I get an extra card, and the extra card I get is one of those, I can then use her to get that guy back and double them. It sounds complicated, but it works. It probably won't happen though. So I'm going to put this guy down because he's a bit useless at the moment and I can't really use him in any of my other tactics. And that gives me 11 points and he's on 9. Now he can either pass and just give up, or he can do what he's going to do and try and beat me. He's put down a low value card, it's a 3, but it also has the handshake on. So I think what he's going to try and do is if I pass at this point, he goes, fair enough. But if I try and beat him, he puts down another one of those, which is very likely. So my choice at this point is either try and use another one of my cards, which might be a waste, and win the first round, but risk it in the second and third, or I could just pass, because he's used more cards than me, and I'm on 11 and he's on 10, which gives me a very minor advantage. So I think what I'm actually going to do is use one of my commander horns down the bottom. What these do is they double the points in any rank you put them on. They go in this bit here. So if I double the points on this rank, he'll have to use loads of cards to beat me. And I've got 3 of them. And normally you only ever need 2 in a round, because otherwise your cards are spread too thinly. So I'm going to use that guy in my close combat rank, which puts me on 22 points. Now he has to put down at least a card worth of 10. So here he's played a Scorch card, but this one only works in the close combat ranks and it's worth 7 points. I don't like this guy. So I think what I'm going to do at this point is give up while I'm slightly ahead on cards anyway, and leave him to worry about how many cards he's put down. He's put down another one. Interesting. That's a decoy. What that does is it reclaims any one of the cards on the board at that time, on your side of the board. So what he's done is he's taken one of my spies and he's going to use it against me later. Oh, he's already used it against me, but luckily it went into my discard pile, which means that I can use the woman I pointed out earlier to reclaim it and use it against him. Very complicated. So he's got a card that reclaims one of those as well, and he's put down his 7 in the close combat deck. And I'm going to put down her, and then it gives you a choice of which card you want to reclaim. Now, I don't want one of the spies with a really high number on, because that gives him loads of points, and that would be bad for me, especially because I've already lost one round. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this guy, who was originally in my hand, and he took him. So I'm going to put him down, and there he is in the close combat rank of my opponent. Now, that does put him quite a lot ahead of me. Interestingly, he's passed, which means he's going to forfeit this round to me, basically. He doesn't really need to worry too much because he's got 2 lives. So basically, like in most good Gwent games, it all comes down to the last round. You each lose 1, and then it's very tightly fought on the 3rd round. So what I have to do is get my number from 5 up to 20 to beat him. So the best way to do this, I think, is to use this special card I have. Now, he has a sun in the top left-hand corner, and what that means is he's immune to any special cards or abilities. So in some ways that's good. He can't be burned, he can't be weather affected, but he also can't be doubled, because that's a special effect. But in this case, I don't really care. I just need to get up to 20 points. So now I need another 5 points to beat him. And what I'm going to do is use this guy. Because as I pointed out in the first round, this guy has a handshake, which means I need 2 of him. But I don't have 2 of him in my current hand. So there's no point in saving him. So I'm going to use him now. And now I'm going to pass, which means I win this round and he loses a life. So it's going okay so far. I still have 9 cards left and he has 8, which puts me ahead. But he's probably got some horrible tactic that's going to completely screw me over in this round. So let's see how this goes. So it's my turn first. And what you want to do is A, don't put down your high value cards first because he will try to take them out. B, try and spread your cards across the 3 ranks so he doesn't take them all out with 1 weather effect, which affects only 1 rank at a time. And C, try not to put 2 cards of the same value down too close to each other. So you see I've got 2 5s and I've got quite a few 6s. The Scorch card gets rid of every card with the same value. So if I spread them out, it's more likely he'll only take out 1 or 2 cards at a time rather than 4. So let's put down a ranged card and see how he reacts to that. Now Gwent is very much about seeing how your opponent reacts to what you do. So you have to be really tentative and really vague in your first few moves before you bring out the big guns. So you can see that at the bottom I have these 2 commander horns which double the value of any rank. It's best to save those right until the end, especially as he's going to run out of cards before me. So I want to make sure he doesn't know what I'm trying to do until right at the last moment so he can't stop me. So I'm going to put down another one of my lower value cards in the close combat rank and see what he does. Okay, so he's pretty much doing the same as me, just testing the waters, unless he only has rubbish cards left, which is also likely. I'm going to put down a 6, see how that goes. And he's also put down a 6. Now he has a slight point lead on me, but that's not so worrying until you get to really near the end and you're trying desperately to make your points higher. But again, like I said, I have 2 commander horns, so it's not really too much of an issue. Now what he's just done is put down a Biting Frost weather card, which is a bit of a pain in the bum, because what that does is it lowers the value of all the cards in the close combat range, including his own, to 1, unless you've got a special effect on them. Like if I put a commander's horde down now, it would raise it to 2. Normally, what I would use is my leader card, Both leader cards have a special effect that they can use at any point in the game. And mine is that I can cancel all weather effects, which is normally really useful, but his leader ability is that it cancels my leader ability. So I can't do that. So I'm just gonna have to call that a write-off, which is a shame because I've got another close combat card. But it's the guy I talked about earlier, and I don't really care too much. So I'm just gonna put him down and act like he's ruined my tactic, and then we'll see what he does. Puts down a 2. Interesting. I don't think he's got very good cards. So I'm going to put down a 6 in the siege combat range. And he's going to use Torrential Rain, which lowers all the value of my siege combat cards to 1. And that's all I have left. So I don't like this guy very much. However, we are still neck and neck on points. So what I'm going to do is just put as many as I can down and hope that he doesn't have any big guns. No, he doesn't. He's putting a close combat card down, which means basically he doesn't really have any other option. So I'm going to put my last siege combat card down, and you can see I'm already beating him. Unless this card's amazing, it's not. He's passed. That's a very strange thing to do with 1 card left, which means he must have something that screws him over, like a weather card for the ranged combat rank. So it's interesting that he's not using that. Now I am 1 point ahead. I am 1 point ahead and I could stop now and I'd win. But like I mentioned before, I really like to just get all the points I can to show them how much I could have beaten them. So I'm going to use my Commander's Horn to double this one, which is the only one that hasn't got weather on it, and this one, which even though it's only 4 points, bring it up to 8 points. And I've beaten him by doubling his score, and I automatically pass because I have no cards left. So I won! That's how you win a game of Gwent. That was a very tough game. I'm going to be honest, it's because it was one of the quest games. Now I'm going to show you what my Gwent deck looks like and what each card means. So on the right hand side is the cards I currently have in my deck. You can have a minimum of 22. At the moment I have 34 as shown by the top statistic there. So if I go into it with RT, I can show you what each card means. This is a decoy which reclaims any card on the battlefield back into your hand. A Commander's Horn doubles the value of all cards in 1 row. Biting Frost lowers the value of every card in 1 rank to 1. This particular one's close combat, this one's ranged combat, and this one is siege. Clear Weather clears all weather on the board. This is a hero card, as you can see from the sun in the top left hand corner. It's a ranged combat card worth 7 points, and this little heart with a cross in it means that she can reclaim any card from the discard pile back into your hand. This is Dandelion. He's a special card, and basically what he does is he is a Commander Horn, as you can see from the small symbol there, but he's also worth 2 points, which is exciting because he's worth more. Always good. That's another hero card that's worth 10 points. Now hero cards are immune to all special effects and abilities, which means they can't be affected by weather, but they also can't be affected by Commander Horns. So it's a bit of a give and take with those ones. This particular one is a catapult. I have 2 of these for a good reason. They're worth 8 points in the siege combat rank. And this handshake means that if I put 2 of them next to each other, they double each other. So that's worth 16 points if I use it correctly. And this guy's a spy. The eye means that basically you put him on your opponent's battlefield and you can take 2 more cards from your deck. He also gives your opponent the number of points in the top left-hand corner. So it's a bit of a gamble, a bit of a calculated risk on whether it's worth giving your opponent 5 points for 2 more cards. You won't be able to see what the cards are until you've already taken them before. You also have your leader card in the middle. You can check those with X. You unlock those as you go. I only have 2 out of the 4. This is the basic one that you start with, and this is the one I've unlocked. Now each one has special abilities. This one lets you use an impenetrable fog card, which lowers all ranged combat cards to 1. And this guy can cancel any weather effects on the board. So if your opponent tries to screw you over, you can use that guy and it doesn't even matter. You also have 4 factions along the top. There are 4 small icons there. Now I'm Northern Realms, which means my faction perk is that whenever I win a round, I get an extra card from my deck. The Scoia'tael faction perk is that you decide who goes first at the start of the battle. Normally that means they go first. The Monsters perk is that one randomly chosen Monsters unit card stays on the battlefield after each round. And the Nilfgaardian Empire perk is that they win whenever there's a draw, which is a great one to have if draws happen a lot. There are a few cards that I would recommend having in a starter deck. Your very early games will just be about making those numbers as high as possible, but once you start getting into tactics, these are invaluable. You'll probably want a Commander's Horn as soon as you get it. You'll want as many high value cards as you can possibly fit in your deck, and you'll also want to try and get some of these handshake ones, but only if you've got two. If you've got one, don't bother even putting them into your deck unless they're worth quite a lot. If you can, try and get a spy, but it's not totally useful when you've only got a starter deck, but you do want to try and get one of these to reclaim a card from your discard pile so that you can reuse cards that you've already put down. That's everything for now. Make sure to like and subscribe if I've even helped you win a single game of Gwent, and let me know in the comments what you're struggling with. Maybe I can help. Bye!